Hello friends, I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Friends, starting from this video, we will be learning React from basics to advanced concepts. Without any further ado, let's start the video. And let me tell you one thing. The prerequisites of learning React are HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You must be familiar with HTML, CSS and JavaScript from basic to near intermediate level to start learning React. Okay, further ado, let's start the video. Okay, so friends, before learning React, we need to understand why React is necessary. Why cannot we just use plain HTML, CSS and JavaScript to create web pages and we need to use React? What are the advantages of React over plain HTML, CSS and JavaScript? Okay, so let's understand this with the help of an example. Friends, uh, I will be teaching you everything starting from scratch, like uh, creating your first React component. Okay, but for now, for the time being, just focus on what example I am trying to show you to understand why React is necessary. What is its advantage? Okay, so let's see. Friends, for the time being, just forget about React. We are not learning React here. Okay, we are just using an HTML document to produce some output. Let's understand the code. So this is the code. I hope you all know HTML, okay? Because this is the prerequisite. So this is a div which has a class name container, and inside that div we have another class name. We have another div called person card, which has a class name person card. We have three such divs, okay, which has a class name person card, and every div has different components, like different values. Okay, for the time being, remove it. Let's remove other two divs and just try to see what we are getting the output in the output. So this is the output we are getting. So friends, if it's time point of time you decided that not we I want more of such person cards, I want more person entries having different having different persons, like different person, for example Alan, and different something different and everything. So let's what how can we create that? Let's just see that. Okay, so we will copy and we can paste it, and what we can do is we can edit here. Okay, so name maybe Alan, and age maybe 25, and city city can be anything else, like New Jersey, for example, New Jersey, and New Jersey, and the country is US. Okay, let's keep remaining. Let's keep it that. So now we are getting this output. Okay, so friends, let's try to understand that. Like when we needed more same kind of div, we have to duplicate the div. We are creating the same component again and again. Let's say if you want another div, like another person, so what we'll do, you'll need one more div having class name as and that code will be redundant code. Like this is not the right thing to do. Now here comes React in pictures. The now React has many benefits, many advantages, but the first and the foremost, which is also very basic to understand, that is that React can have reusable components. Okay, React can have reusable components. So let's see it that with an example, with the same example. So let's see how can we implement that same web page, this same web page, using React and not just HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript is anyway not being used here. Okay, so let's see how we can achieve the same output with React. Okay, so let's first see this has a div class name called container. Okay, container. So we created a component having the class name as container. Okay, this is the div which was here. This div transformed into this div, and inside that div there we were having another div. Okay, this div having the class name as person card and every other information. So this div transformed into this component having the class name as person card. Now friends, for the time being, just forget about what is class name and what is the function, why we are using JavaScript like syntax and return statement and everything. I will teach but for scratch. But for the time being, I'm just trying to show you what are the advantage of React over HTML and CSS. So with the help of an example, so just ignore the syntax for the time being and focus on what output we are getting. Okay, so and this is person card and this is container. Okay, so we are using that person card component here. So if we let's say for example we remove for the timing, let's just remove this. Okay, so we are getting this output. Okay, this output we are getting. So now you, when at some point of time you decided that there should be more person cards, so you don't have to write the same components again. Same component again, you don't have to duplicate the component. You can just call the component one more time. Okay, so this is the person card component. Let's say you want another time, so we can as many times as we want. Okay, so let's just save it. And what we get on the output, so we get this output. Okay, we get this output four times. Okay, so what we just did is that we don't have to create or duplicate components. We just call the same component as many times as we needed. Okay, so but there is a problem. So you can now understand how the code is being efficient. We are not duplicating the components, we are just calling the same component which we have written here, and multiple times inside the container component. Okay, so this is the benefit of React. But this benefit is not, you might say that what's the benefit, what's the point of using multiple times when we cannot, when we are getting the same persons every time, John and John, and everything else is also same. So now here comes the concept of props in React. So in React, while remember, we are calling a component here, just as we used to call a component in call a function in JavaScript. So what happens in JavaScript? You define a function at some place. You define a function at some place, and you call the function as per your need. So we are defining the function here. Let's say function which is component. The function is called component. Sees as that this component, we are defining a component here, and we are calling that component when we need it. So we can call a function multiple times. In the same way, we can call a component multiple times, so we are calling it four times. And for example friends, in JavaScript also, and or in any other programming language, when you call a function multiple times, you can provide different arguments each time. You don't have to pass, you can also pass arguments. First thing is that you can pass arguments, and second thing is that you can pass any argument as per your need and which is according to the parameters. But you can pass any values. Okay, so if you are using an int in your function, you can pass any integer like 5, 4, 7, every multiple different numbers at different times. So here also we will pass the same thing, pass different arguments to that, to these component calls. But here the when we are calling a component, the arguments are not called as arguments, but they are called props. Here comes the concept of props. We are passing props. Instead of, we say it is also an argument, but we call it props. Okay, so let's pass. Okay, so what we can do, we can say name is equal to, let's say name is John, for example, John. Okay, and age is let's say 32, and city is, for example, let's say London. Okay, London. And then country country is UK. UK. Okay, passing name, age, city and country. And when the next time we pass it, we can assign different values. Let's say this time this is not John, this is Alan. Okay, and his age is 20, let's say 22, and the city he lives in, any city, let's say New York, he lives in New York, and the country is obviously US. Okay, and then again we are passing it again, and let's say this time the person is Rahul, for example, and his age is also 22, and the city is Mumbai. Okay, and the country is obviously India. Okay, so we passed different arguments at different component calls. We passed different props at different component calls. Let's remove this one. We only want 3, for example. Okay, so let's and remember we have passed the argument, but in any programming language or in JavaScript or Java anything, we have to receive those arguments where we are defining the function. Similarly, the point at which we are defining this component, we have to receive it here somehow. Okay, so we will receive it. Now there are many ways to receive it. For the time being, the example show you the example, I am using the concept of destructuring in JavaScript. You must be familiar with the concept of destructuring in JavaScript, as JavaScript is a prerequisite to learning React. Okay, so let me receive that component. I will in the further videos I will teach you different methods to accept a prop. Okay, but for time being, let's see this one. Okay, so we will use his name, age, city and country. Okay, name, age, city and country. Now we will use it here. Name, age, city and country. Okay, there's an error. Okay, I have my mistake removed. Okay, so name, age, city and country. We are receiving this what we passed from there, and we are receiving it here. Okay, name, age, city and country, and we are using that here. Now for the time being, let's just forget about the syntax, that is we are using curly braces and inside we are writing name, age, city. Just for the time being, assume that this is done this way. Okay, and also let me tell you that this is the most popular way of receiving props. Okay, that is by destructuring. You can also use other methods, other ways, which I will teach you later. So let me just save it and save it. Now let's see the output. Okay, John, Alan, there's a spelling mistake, and Rahul, and everything is getting showed in the right way. Okay, so what we learned here? We learned that while using React, we need not write the duplicate components multiple times. We write a component at a place and call that component as per our needs, and we can also pass different arguments at different times, and we call that arguments as props. So we are passing props here. So this was the first and the foremost benefit of using React, that is called reusable components. So we learned two things. Why we need to use React, that is the benefit of using having the ability to use the reusable components, and we also learned about a React concept called passing of props or props. This is the first concept that you should be learning about React. Okay, so in the next videos I will be implementing this. We will be creating our first React project starting from scratch, and I will also be showing you the the project structure of React, that what is this node modules, what is public src folder and app.css, uh, everything I will be explaining detail. This video was just to get the crux of using React. That is the main advantage of using React. So we have learned this. So friends, that's it for today's video. See you in the next video. I hope you liked the video. So please share it your friends. Share it with your friends. Like the video, comment on it, the doubts you are getting, and please subscribe to the channel. Your subscriptions help us. Your subscriptions, remember, your subscriptions help us. Both your subscriptions help the channel to grow. So please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. Okay, so let's meet in the next video. Thank you, friends.